All right, it's time for another Fibble. This is the game that's just like Wordle, except on every row, one of the clues is a lie. They're starting us with solar. And since I'm on hard mode, I have to do possible answers. So I like to repeat letters as much as possible, so I'll assume the yellows and greens are true. We could do something like that, or we could do the O before the R, and then what if we did, oh, I was going to say we could do color, but that obviously has too many lies. Because we can't do the O second. We could do LOR, but then I don't know. I don't know what we would do otherwise. So we could do the O at the beginning and do older. That's pretty good. Okay, so well, one of these two R's is a lie. For sure. They can't both be true. And therefore, whichever one is a lie, on that row, the gray L will be true. So therefore, the gray L is true on both. Now, one of the two O's definitely is true. They could both be true, but at least one is true because at least one of the R's is a lie. So there is an O. We know that much. What if we do... Can we do that? If we assume the O and the R work... Now, the R would be the lie, so we'd have to have an E. It would probably be there. And you'd have to have an S or an A. You could do something like that. Is that a thing? Not that I can think of. So I don't think it works if you do the R, because you got to have an E. It's not going to be O-E. It would have to be this. You'd have to have an S or an A. I don't think that works. So, but the R could be, yeah, and if the R is at the end, that makes the yellow R and older the lie. So you'd have to have the O there. So I don't think the R can be at the end. I think that's going to be the lie. So what if we do something like this? Oh, well, it could be right. The problem is if there's no R, then both the R's are lies. And so then the E could, no, the E couldn't. Yeah, the E could be there because the E would be true. Right, we could do that. Or we could do an R somewhere else. In which case, the yellow R would be true. We could still put the E at the end if we had a D. But I'm not sure what that would be. Something like that, for example. But yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. I think. Well, we could do the E here with an R somewhere else, though. Something like this or like that. But I don't know what that would be either. So, all right, I'm thinking O and E and then new letters. That's what I'm thinking. We could do something like opine. Okay. Well, one of these two O's is a lie. Okay, so one of these two O's is a lie. They clearly can't both be true. One of these two E's is also a lie. Either there's an E or there's not. So on the second and third rows there, the two lies are going to be an O and an E. So everything else has to be true. So there is an R. Interesting. Okay. So... well, we could go back to the O and putting an R in there and having no E. That could work. That could work. The R doesn't have to be there, but an R somewhere. Well, something like orbit, but we can't do an I now. The only vowel that we can use if there's no E is... yeah, and we definitely know that this green R is true now, by the way, because the yellow R... or the green R has to be the lie because the yellow R was true. So we can finish that off like that. So the only vowel we would have would be U, or maybe another O. What about outro? That's interesting. With another O at the end? Let's try that. Oh. Okay. Well, we know that the green and the yellow can't both be lies, right? Because one of the two E's has to be a lie. So one of those two has to be true. Whichever one is true, it's definitely not gray. So we know that that is the lie. And the rest of these are true. Okay, so there is an O. Ooh, there is an O at the end. So if there's an O at the beginning, then we have this with ortho. Yeah, ortho. Oh, I thought that was going to be it. Okay, well, again, we get all of this. Okay, so we now know the R has to be at the beginning. The R has to be at the beginning. That's the only place it can be. We've got this, which means this is true, this is a lie, this is true. So there is an E then. Retro. No, we can't do retro. There can't be another R there. Okay, so it's this and there's an E. Oh, no. I made a mistake. The double letter did it to us again. Okay, let's go back. Okay, here's the problem. I said these can't both be lies, so this has to be a lie, right? The gray. That's not necessarily true, because if this one is true, this one could also be true because there's a green at the end, right? So really, we don't know anything about this one. Okay, we got to go back. Yep, that was a mistake. The double letter, see, you got to be careful with double letters. So the only way that this can be a lie is if there's two O's, because that forces this to be true. There has to be two O's for that to be a lie. But for there to be two O's, both of these O's would have to be lies, which isn't possible. So we know there's not two O's. Therefore, this one is actually true. Okay. Yep, that was not good. So well, we still know, what do we know? We know there is an R. Well, one of these two O's is definitely a lie. We know that much. These definitely can't both be true. We know there's one O. So whether this is true or the O is somewhere else, these can't both be true. So therefore, the green T is true. We know that. This gray O out here is true. Which therefore means this one is a lie. Right? Yeah, we know there's not an O at the beginning. We definitely know that. So that's a lie. This is true. That's a lie. This is true. There we go. Okay. So we're still doing okay. But there is an E, but the key is these two R's aren't necessarily both true, because that forced an R at the beginning. And I think one of those R's is going to be a lie. Well, we know this O is a lie because there's definitely one O in the word, so it's this way. So could we do this with an E and not have it be? Well, we could do retro. We could do retro because this one isn't necessarily true. Right. Yeah, it's going to be retro. Oh, what? Okay, well, that it tricked me. I thought that was the answer. But it says not quite. Oh, it's metro, isn't it? It's another etro. Originally, I came up with retro thinking the R was at the beginning, but there doesn't need to be two R's. Oh, it's metro. All right, well, you got to be careful with the double letters. You can make some errors in logic, like I just did, but that's all right. I figured it out and got there before it was too late. So let me know, how your solve went today and how long it took you to arrive at the metro. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more.